Jane Fendelman, welcome. And I want to welcome your perspective to this show, too, because you really believe that Ritalin is the worst thing a parent can do for their kids.
Ritalin is a class 2 drug, just like cocaine. There's not much use of Ritalin much anymore because they found out it can cause early onset of Parkinson's disease, Tourette syndrome. Usually when the children come off of the medications that are for ADD, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, frequently the children are suicidal and they're more likely to use street drugs.
Yeah, it's just a gateway drug.
And when you hear the kids, a lot of them say, it just makes me feel weird. I don't like to take it. Now the research proves that helps you understand why they wouldn't want to take it.
There's a young man in the green room who says he's on Adderall. And I said, how do you feel? Do you feel speedy on the inside and look calm on the outside? And he says, yes. There's actually a theory that most of America is walking around in a mild state of depression. And so when children,
I believe that.
They are. People aren't they aren't living their bliss.
Yes.
So children come in all bouncy and happy and energetic. And when you're around somebody who's energetic and happy and you're depressed, they're annoying. So we're going to try to drug these children down to our level of depression.
Oh my gosh.
Well, okay, so what's
the solution? How do we make people happier?
Okay. Well, I think the first chapter of my book, I say, you have to live your bliss. We know that it's not a chemical disorder. If it were a chemical disorder, it would be across the board. It would be like, if you had the flu at home and you went to the grocery store, you would still have the flu. Or if you went to work or school, you would have the flu wherever you go. If you have ADD and it's a chemical imbalance, you would have it at home, at school, at play. You would have it when you're working on your computer playing your video game.
We want to have you back.
Yeah.
The book is called Raising Humane Beings. How do people get a hold of you? Because you really are taking the claim that you can cure people in
3 to 5 counts. Usually 3.
And you're local.
Local, I'm in Phoenix.
And welcome back, everyone. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, is something we hear a lot about these days. There are all kinds of ways to treat it, even without the use of drugs. And here to tell us how is family expert Jane Fendelman. And hi, Jane, thanks for being with us.
It's so great to be back again, Janine. What's your daughter's strength? What's her favorite class?
Music and drama, arts.
Music and drama.
Yes.
Okay, that tells us she's right brain dominant. Yes. Unfortunately, school is largely left brain dominant. Our culture is left brain dominant, very masculine heavy, very logical. So this is a creative person, a free spirit. School is going to be kind of like a square peg in a round hole for her. If you can do things that, you know, if you get a really smart teacher, they'll use their strengths. Like Janine was talking about her boy's teachers, let her boy help out. And think about Jim Carrey, who would have been diagnosed and medicated for ADD, ADHD. If he had been tested back then, and he never would be the multi-billionaire that he is today. But what his teacher did was, she said, if you can make it through this lesson, at the end of the lesson, I'm going to let you have the last 5 minutes to stand up and entertain. Yeah. Now, if the teacher is smart, they will find a way to use the strengths. One of the greatest things I learned when I got my teaching degree, my undergraduate degree is a Bachelor of Science in Education, and I went to SMSU, the Teachers College, which is supposed to be the best. And my favorite teacher at that school said, it is your job as a teacher to find out how each child learns best. There's a line in my book that goes, the person with the greatest attachment has the least power. So, if your child's grades and schoolwork is more important to you than it is to them, guess who has all the power? But if your child is inspired, feeling inspired by their teacher and loved by their teacher and feeling rewarded, then they're going to do better in school. And also if you say, instead of saying, get in there and do your homework, if you say, use the yes after you, I have a special treat for you right after you get your homework done. And the younger they are, the closer together the rewards are, because the, you know, to a child, an hour, to a little child, an hour is like
training
a
an animal, that whole Pavlovian response association.
Exactly. So, and for the mood swings, I ask families, have a family motto, invite all emotions. Because one of the things we think we're supposed to do as a parent is to control their emotions. And I can tell you, the more you try to suppress a person's emotions, the more they grow, the bigger they get, and the more inappropriately they will come out. So if your child is having a strong expression of emotion and you just say, wow, I'm just going to sit down. What if your husband said to you, have the women ever experienced a man saying, honey, you're overreacting? Has that ever worked to calm you down? No, it's like gasoline on the fire. What's he thinking? So the same for children. Women and children are emotional creatures. And so if your husband said to you...
Oh, I like that.
Listen,
women and children.
Women and children are emotional creatures. And if your husband or your man sat down and said, you know what, baby, I can see you're mad. Let it out. You're gorgeous when you're angry. You would just be like, oh, and then it would...
I love that.
There it goes.
Let's take one more question.
Is with my son, he doesn't sleep all the way through the night, and he bumps his head when he does. He's very talkative in school, and sometimes he battles low self-esteem when you try and tell him not to do things.
Yes.
So I need help with that.
Yes. Okay, that's so great. Thank you for that question, Cynthia, because it's so important. It really is our knee-jerk reaction to say, don't do things. Stop that. Don't do this. Do this. And when we use the yes after you, it kind of clears that up. But two things that you said that I think are definitely entwined, and that is low self-esteem and inability to sleep. Because, you know, one of the signs of depression is difficulty falling asleep. And when we have low self-esteem, our tendency is going to be that we're depressed. And I think that when first of all, I want to say hats off to all of you, because parents, you already get an A, all of you, because parents who want to find out a new way of being with your children, you're already my favorite people in the world. So when you go home today, you're going to bite your tongue every time you want to tell him don't, and instead you're going to say, honey, as soon as you're finished hitting your brother, come in the kitchen, I have a surprise for you.
It has changed my whole life. I have her book here, and I read it from cover to cover, and I have all these little markers of the things that have really worked very well. The yes after you.
And let's explain that, because what's interesting when you read the book, this really is changing the way you feel about yourself as a woman.
Right.
And
as
in turn, as a parent, and in turn, you're treated differently by the kids.
That's right. They are doing so much better.
But what was your greatest struggle? Describe just real quickly what it was like at home with your kids.
Everything was a challenge. Everything from getting up to getting breakfast to getting off to school. And the same.
Defiance? Nonstop defiance?
Oh, yes. I don't want to. I don't want to eat. I don't want this. I don't want to do that.
All the normal stuff.
And
Christian? How old are you?
10.
Okay, and you're 6?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Haley.
Haley and Christian. Okay.
Is the house different? Is your mommy different?
Yeah.
Are things going better?
Yeah.
You're not taking your medicine anymore.
Do you feel better? What's the change? What's it feel like for you? What did it feel like before, and what's it feel like now?
Not eating, now it feels like eating more.
Interesting.
he's grown so much. His friends and talks, and they kind of were like zombies when they were on medication. They were very closed down, and they would play not together, by themselves. They would go in their own rooms and just
changes the personality.
And this is what, Jane, you're all about. You want to get the kids off Ritalin, get them on good, healthy foods, and get the family talking again without medication.
Exactly.
And you say that this really works, and you're living proof of this.
That's
you all
right.
are.
And parenting style that is about inspiration and reward, and not so much about punishment and control.